You know, that is sort of basically what you produce when you burn that is you get a certain amount of gas, or you get it, and you get all this then, and nanoparticles going in the air. So you get some that you can use for energy, and then some of the nanoparticles that go into the air that are considered like the most dangerous because they're so small. They're the kind that are very hard to get out of your lungs, and that'll all fall around the Hilo airport and the Hawaiian homelands there, or the wind's blowing over to our side. And then you get what's toxic waste, and then that's what we as a county we're responsible to figure out where to get rid of that. So if trucking over to Hilo is a problem, just think about the trucks going the reverse way with the toxic waste. So I think in terms of who is Honolulu and what are those interests, one of it is just we want to control. We just don't want anybody raising questions. And I think that's really, without any substantive issue, that's probably the single. So what I've heard, that the mayor said to me, I like Margaret. It's just that I can't control her. She can't. I need a secure seat. I want that vote. And then we all, Stepford wives, and everybody gets along, and we all work well together, and no one raises questions, and then we just tell you all that this is the best deal, and here you're on the hook for 20, 30 years with that incinerator. And if you go in to the internet and you start looking up, municipal waste, what pops up? All these bankruptcies, where municipalities going bankrupt, or here is Honolulu not having enough trash. So I keep going, okay, if we can recycle, compost 75%, okay, of it, and then maybe we could sell the rest to Honolulu, whatever we need. And actually, even in Pahoa, what's considered in that last 25% is mostly like wood, demolition wood. They're laying that all out over there, and nothing's left. Everybody's taking it. So even what's considered the least recyclable on our island is being recycled at a very high rate. I know that Noah and Sam, Noah Dodd, has been doing sort of helping individuals learn what to do, and at the schools, and now the kids are all going, we want a 5-bin, where's our 5 bins, here it is. And the neat thing is it's all tied into the school gardens for them. And that's how these are really the two sides of the coin. We all say Malama Aina, and care for the land, and Aloha Aina. And yet we do this, and then and this is waste, rather than seeing this web of life, and we take from the land, and then how do we give back? So how do we reuse, or how do we take all of that compost so that we're bringing it back to the land and not having both landscapers and residences and farmers go out and buy soil and compost. I think the contractor down at Kuhio is bringing in container loads of compost and that, whereas we're throwing ours all away and putting that in the landfills is, I believe it's about the most toxic because it becomes methane gas, and now we're spending all this money to deal with all this excess. Yeah, so anyway, that's probably the key issue, and I think one group that is opposing me has been the unions, and that Margaret is taking jobs away. In the short term, we might get those contracts, or that's what people are being told. A number of workers have called me and said, Margaret, I really support you, and I'm in the union, I'm with the Carpenters Union, but I just want you to know this is what's going on. And when we raise the question, why would we oppose Margaret? She's doing all these good things. Then it's, oh, well, she's against business and we may not get the contract for the incinerator, which we might be able to get, and things like that. So I also think on the council, we actually have a really good council. I mean, we have different points of view, but in a way, we bring to the table lots of diverse opinions. And what I try to do is do like farsighted, where 20 years, looking back, Where are we looking for the long term? So if we're looking at the economy of doing the compost versus the incinerator, we would produce 400 times more jobs if we do it where we're doing reuse, recycle, and that over the long term, versus, and each category with its plastics is different number and different number. So that, how do we look at it? Where do we want to get? And then working back, what do we need to do? So it's exciting, and I did want to bring up a few specifics, and I just put out a couple examples of things that have come up this past week. One of which is to, instead of just saying no incinerator, I always try to do, well, what is the yes? What is the yes? And put together that we have, here are all these policies we passed to say that we're aiming for zero waste, and we're going to do those policies. And the state has a requirement that we do, our priority is like sort reduction or source reduction, and then you go to recycling and composting, and the lowest priority is landfill or incinerator. So we have all these priorities and we're not doing any of them. And so I picked out, we have a huge book on our zero waste policies that our county passed, and started picking out, why aren't we doing these? You know, here are the ones that we said we could do. And then I also have been trying to do some fun things, well, fun, but help the economy, like that October is Eat Out Month. So on Wednesday, we passed my resolution that October is Eat Out Month, which is the low period for visitors here, and how if collectively
I can do that.
So collectively we all try to support our restaurants, and at the same time get the restaurants to be focused on the local population, you know, and look at specials for our, you know, Big Island residents, and also look to purchasing produce from this island, our island. And then I have one that's going to come up, I think it's October 15th, that's in November, will be, you know, buy Hawaii Island produce, you know, fruit and fruits. So that when it's, you know, Thanksgiving and you go to get the grapes and this, you go, go get the dragon fruit. You know that we all just, let's be supportive.
That's right.
And take a month and just say, we are going to, okay, the sweet potatoes, not the Idaho baked potatoes. And just sort of focus on that for a month, and the whole island, and collectively do this. And so then I was thinking, okay, well, what about, you know, the ranchers and the meats? I said, okay, so I went up to a couple of them at Taste of the Range, and I said, you know, how about we make December buy local beef and poultry and pork? Well, that sounds good. That would be great. So, you know, that we're buying local grass-fed beef or poultry, and just collectively do things to support the economy and focus. I'm chair of the Ag, Water, Energy, Sustainability Committee on the council, so sort of focus from the farmer on up, you know, how, and usually if you help different levels in the economy, it has a ripple effect, but if you go to the very, what I consider the base or the farmers, you have to maximize the ripple effect through the community. And